reboot Spider-Man 3 times. What kind of crap is that?
What's going on to YouTube? This is JVS.
What's up, YouTube? Sorry you guys had to hear that.
Yeah, Joe is like being really passionate about the whole like, why is Fox and Sony effing with everybody essentially? Like, why do you have to take our characters and not allow Marvel just to run shit?
Exactly.
Like I mean, why has it got to? Why you don't own this?
Yeah,
Stan Lee is the motherfucker.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
But nah, we ain't gonna go into that just now. We're gonna be going and doing the Fantastic Four spoiler-filled review, and we're gonna try not to be as long as the non-spoiler review because, gosh, dog, we were like 22 minutes.
About this. Yeah.
We went 22 minutes.
22 minutes.
Everybody that I've seen do a review on this, they've like at the most been like 13 minutes. And we're doing a spoiler-free review, so hopefully we can keep this under 20 minutes. That's what I'm praying for. Right. But either way, one of the things I'm going to say about this is that before we did the non-spoiler review, we did not talk about the movie at all. We didn't want to discuss it between each other. We wanted to keep our opinions to ourselves, and we wanted to be able to give y'all the most honest opinions that we had about this movie because there's been so many reviews that have come out, they've just dogged this motherfucking movie. So I went in with really low expectations. I just wanted to see a movie that was entertaining to me from the science fiction side of me and from the side of me that actually kind of liked the first Fantastic Four where other people really didn't anyway. So, how did I feel about this movie? We gave it a 6. I gave it a 6.5. Joe gave it a 7. And I actually kind of enjoyed the movie. I didn't think it was the best. I didn't think it definitely wasn't the best superhero movie. There's been so many other great superhero movies and movies in general. Like, if you think about, like, Mission Impossible, that's a great action movie. You know what I'm saying? Fast 7 was a great action movie. I mean, it's been so many this summer. I just looked at Southpaw. An emotionally gripping, awesome sports documentary movie, you know? This wasn't that. But it was an entertaining time. The beginning of the movie starts off with Reed Richards as a young kid. It starts off with Ben Grimm, kind of him and both of them kind of hitting it off really early because basically Reed Richards was kind of like telling the class that he had this idea of being able to transport people from one place to another. And it was funny because his teacher was like, what about your flying car? In the old series, like, he did have a flying car. He's like, I'm not working on that anymore. I thought that was a really funny touch. But in the beginning, like, he finds, like, in the junkyard that, like, Ben Grimm is actually living in. And I thought that was really cool. Like, the way that...
That's smart how they did that.
The way that Jamie Bell's character, or Ben Grimm, was kind of young, and, like, you could see his, like, his home life, you know what I'm saying? Like, his brother's, like, ragging on him. Like, his mom is kind of just, like, taking care of the brothers. And they seem like, you know, they're less than middle class. You know, they're dealing with stuff. They're going through hard times. And even with Reed, you can tell, like, he's different. You know, like, his parents don't understand him. So that's how they get together and merge so well. But then, like, he's like, I need to get something from this junkyard because I need enough power to sustain it. And I was like, what the heck is this kid doing? And then when he finally actually takes this toy car and pushes it somewhere else and it's just sand sitting there, I was like, this is some science fiction joint. I might actually like this movie, you know? Because I went in and I was like, man, I ain't gonna enjoy this joint. But I'm gonna try to just enjoy my time watching it. And it builds from that point on when Jamie Bell and and Miles Teller kind of go and continue the rest of it. They kind of enter this science fair. I think they're in high school or whatever. And they do it again, but their teacher is just ragging all on them. And then that's when they kind of meet up with Sue Storm's dad and Sue Storm. And that's the other thing. Like, Sue Storm is Caucasian. Johnny Storm is African American. The dad is African American. She was adopted. Did they address it? No. Was it implied? Yes. That's the thing that I wanted to talk to you about, Joe, because when they were going through the movie and Johnny was kind of like street racing or whatever, and he blew that guy's stern engine out so bad, I was like, yeah, I called it when it was happening. I was like, you ain't Dominic Toretto. Yeah, you need to just stop and go sit somewhere.
I thought it was gonna be the dude.
Man, he was pushing it beyond like the point that it was supposed to go. I was like, the transmission's gonna give out eventually. But anyway, he crashed the joint, broke his arm. And there's a scene with him and his dad, and they start talking, you know. And Michael B. Jordan, I thought he played a good role in this one because he said a lot without saying too much to the script that he was given. And I don't know if that was a screenplay or if they were setting up for something, I'm not sure, but there were things that implied like with the relationship that they had, because he was like saying like, I ain't gonna be like Sue. Like you know, his dad was like, you have so much potential, like you get this high IQ, you can build anything essentially. And he's like, that's just not how it is for me. I could feel that tension there. I could feel that jealousy there. I could feel that comparison there. But then later on, when like Michael B. Jordan is like has his powers and he's like basically giving up on everything. Like he just is like embraces it fully. He's just a soldier. He's a soldier for fortune, and he doesn't want to be changed back. He's like, he just embraced it fully because it's the first time in his life he's probably felt like somebody's noticing him. Like he accepts and receives that. Whereas like Sue, like she got pushed in the midst of that. And when she got her powers, like she's doing the workouts and the things that they're telling her to do as far as the training wise, but she's not like that, you know. And like when they started having the dialogue with her and her dad was like, I know that he's still your brother no matter what. Like you got to be there for him. You got to talk to him. And I really liked that part. Those were scenes where there was unspoken tension that get addressed. It's just like with Miles Teller and with Jamie Bell's character, because like, I mean, Miles Teller, when he gets them like actually going through and they actually have the thing that happens later on, there's a lot of tension that you see through a CGI rock character looking at this man that's done this to him. But it's like I could still see it, that there was a real relationship there. And I'm not sure if that was Miles Teller doing really good acting off of nothing, because there's nobody really there, you know what I mean? Or if that was the voice acting and the way it was portrayed, because it was a push and pull there where I could tell there was tension there. It's just never really addressed. It's implied. You can feel the tension. There's subtle scenes that they say stuff in dialogue, but I felt like they could have gone so much more with it. But as far as what did you think about the movie? What's something you want to spoil about it? Because we didn't even talk about when they went through or the powers or anything like that.
Right. I mean, as far as like this movie, well, initially from the jump, one thing that I thought was really interesting, like after they had gotten their powers or whatever, right? Because initially I thought Sue Storm was going to be the one with them. I was trying to figure out how
you got to break it down for them. What happened to them?
I was trying to figure out how Ben was going to be tied into this, because when Reed was recruited by Sue Storms and her father, you know, Ben he went back home.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, I didn't really catch. I was like, how is, you know what I'm saying, how's Ben gonna be? Because I know eventually he's gonna become, you know what I'm saying, the thing. I was like, how's it gonna be incorporated in the story, or how's it gonna go about getting his powers? And I really like how they did that. Really, what happened was, so after they had made the 4-person chamber to actually go into a transdimensional teleportation, after they made it, some of the chair members were like, okay, we're calling in NASA to, you know, to spearhead the mission, or whatever. And they were like, yo, like, they talked about the mission to the moon, how Neil Armstrong, you know what I'm saying, everybody remembers Neil Armstrong, but no one remembers the scientists who actually were the dreamers behind the mission.
Yeah, that was a really good scene. Because they were sitting there drinking, and like Toby Kimmel, he was telling them, and I really liked Victor Dundum. I have to admit, the beginning of it, and when he's in human form, like I love the dialogue. I love every single scene when he was talking in. Towards the end, when he actually became Victor Von Doom, I feel like it was rushed, but the scenes that he was actually in were really cool. You know what I mean? But when he was talking in that scene, he was talking about like, man, like the Neil Armstrong thing, or even like this is gonna be my reality. I was one of the ones, because he was one of the ones that actually created this thing. Like he was one of the first ones that actually created it, and like he feels as though like Reed took that from him. He's competing with like everything else, but at that moment they all felt as though Like they were losing out, you know, and they were drunk and they were desperate. And when you're drunk and desperate, you do some stupid things. But I'll let Joe continue.
So they pretty much like they didn't want that to happen, and they went up ahead and that night they actually went into the labs, went into the 4-seat chamber for the transdimensional teleportation, and then they went through
and went out.
And Sue Storm was not with them. She got a read on her computer. She was somewhere else, got a read on her computer that, you know, that the device was actually being activated. And so she immediately goes down. She calls her father and she's like, yo, you need to go to the lab. And she immediately goes down to the lab and tries to, like, I don't know, like, pretty much stop them or whatever.
And I thought that was kind of stupid, though. It was two things that I thought was stupid about that. One, I didn't know they had an actual device that could send them back from when inside of it. Mm-hmm. Like, that didn't make sense. Why would you go and not be monitored? At least tell Sue or somebody, you know. I thought that was, I mean, they didn't address that. Like, inside of this actual machine, you can get sent back. So if the monkey was there, he could have sent himself back, you know, when they did the test round. But then when they actually got on the surface, and they were like, okay, I just want to have my hand printed down and stuff like that. Like, Victor started doing stupid stuff. I mean, like, it's one thing you being there, you know, and you can feel the power. I would expect him to take a specimen out. Like, okay, I got a funnel. I'm going to take the specimen back with me. And, you know, this ninja put his hands in the gosh darn green drink. Did he know it's pure energy? Like, it could have burned through the suit, you know? And that's when everything started going to hell, essentially. But they, I mean, for them to even go down a cliff, walk out there, stuff like that, like Johnny was like, nah, I ain't gonna be that black guy to get killed this. And either way, he got burnt. I mean, he got burnt. Like, Jamie Bell's character got rocks pushed at him. And like all this different stuff started happening. And it was really well done. But I felt like they were just kind of stupid decisions. Like, I mean, if you're not trying to be campish and you're trying to be a realistic science fiction movie, be a realistic science fiction movie. If you're trying to be a superhero movie, be campish, be like this motherfucker. Which I'm looking at this and it's like, man, I can't see this. You know, I accept, regardless of what rating I gave that movie, this new movie. Only because this just looks cheesy to me now. I look at this and it doesn't feel grounded in the reality of the superhero movies that we have nowadays. And I mean, I think that's what Marvel tries to do as much as they can. But their movies have been really gritty. They just have really good costumes, really got really good actors doing them. But this tries to kind of change that. It tries to be really gritty, but then it tries to pull back. And I felt like that was one of those moments they pulled back. I was like, dude, take a specimen or, you know, be careful. You know that this thing, this sludge or whatever is alive and you're going to put your hand in it? That doesn't make sense. Y'all gonna leave but not have somebody monitoring it? And they don't even imply that? I mean, that just didn't make sense. But then when they actually do get back, and they're kind of like laid out on the stretcher, and like Johnny's like burning and can't stop, and they're just experimenting all on Reed, and like his arms, his legs are completely stretched out. I'm like, I'm feeling for these guys, you know? I mean, I think when the Thing finally said like, help me, Reed, please. God help me, you know, and Reed leaves him, I thought that was something that they could use as a plot device so well. And they never really, it never came a being. They just used the Thing as a tool used by the government. Like, he ended up killing like 43 people in one of his terms. I was like, dang, that's jacked up. And you could tell the anguish that he had. But then when you actually have Miles Teller's back, like, I thought that was really cool, like, having him, like, man, like, he's created his own suit to deal with his own body. Like, he can defend himself. He's just made a complete transformation. And it's believable, given the circumstances and the guilt that he's feeling, that he's trying to hone in and try to get himself together. But it's just like, I really liked his progression. But then everybody else's, I was just like, man, why are they rushing through this, you know? Like, what are they trying to, what's the end goal? And I guess to end this off as far as a spoiler review for me, the end sequence, when Victor does come back and they find out that he's alive, because he got left there. He got left there. And they went back to get him, like this whole different team. They finally found Miles Teller's character and they got him to work through the thing to get everything back together. But they finally went in and they found there was a reading there, and they kind of pulled him back and stuff like that, and they sat him down. But when they finally do get Victor, and they bring him back to the actual compound, and they put him down, you know, he starts talking with the government guy. He straight up murdered that government guy, man. Like, he has some Darth Vader joint going down. Like, everybody's getting pushed around. Like, his power rivaled, in my opinion, you know, like Jean Grey and like X3. His was worse. Because, like, he could make people's skin boil to the point that they were disintegrated and burst into nothing but blood. Like, he was just sitting there popping heads off like it was on nothing. I was like, God, dog, walking through the freaking hallways. I felt like seeing that amount of power, I don't care if you got powers of your own. If he can do that to a human being, I mean, with the exception of the Thing, like, I don't know how you're gonna beat something like that, you know? And when I saw that, those were cool scenes. But then when he finally fought them, you know, he was using his powers. But I mean, I felt like he could have killed them. I feel like he could kill a lot of them. I feel like he could have popped their heads off or whatever. And I mean, like, he didn't even, I mean, I felt like if there was dialogue there, it's just like in his head, he's like, this is my family, regardless or whatever. Like, I couldn't have done this without them. Like, or even anger. Like, you left me here. You did this to me.
That doesn't get addressed either.
Because, I mean, he was stuck there for a year. A whole year on a different planet. And, like, I mean, he's just been sucked in his juices. I mean, yeah, that stuff is probably affecting his brain. And, yeah, he's probably, like, more alien than human at this point. But, I mean, I was like, how did he survive, for one, without any food? It had to have been the actual sludge. Or whatever the entity was that embodied his body over his suit. But I would be pissed. I mean, like, he fought them, and I felt the anger while he was fighting them, but I really didn't. Because he didn't make any dialogue about it. And I know that Toby Kimmel, he's a great actor. And a great voice actor. I mean, when Cobra was having dialogue with, like, Caesar, that was some serious dialogue. And that didn't happen. Like, the whole latter half, like, there was no dialogue at all. It was just them fighting, and, I mean, I felt like he could have killed them. When he was in that hallway, I kid you not, like, the amount of power that he's circulating out, he's allowing this thing to go and circulate around and fighting them. I'm like, how has he not just killed them? And I mean, he was using their powers against them. Maybe he was trying to make them, you know, appear to be weak by dismantling them and kind of showboating himself. But the way that his character started off from the beginning, that's just not how he is. Like, if he wanted to kill you, he'd just do it, you know? I mean, even like the way that he kind of described his character, like, he set fire to the lab beforehand, you know? And so, I mean, I felt like he's somebody that bad and that strong. Like, they should have had some serious injuries. And it didn't happen. It didn't manifest that way. They just rushed through a dogfight. And, I mean, I like the ending because it kind of like was kind of like the X2 kind of ending. Like, yeah, we the heroes. You the busters. The man can't keep us down. Give us our own mansion. You know? I thought that was cool. You know? But the fight and how quickly it was, nah, man, it shouldn't have been that easy. Nor should it not have gone along without any kind of dialogue. That, to me, is what deflated the movie for me. More than anything. Because I was like, shoot, this dude is bad, eh? You know, you can say what you want to about the look. Like, this dude looks seriously, you know, messed up. But it didn't go there with that for me. But, what are your thoughts about the final act?
I didn't really like it. I don't know. I didn't really like it. It didn't tie in well enough for me because initially, so they sent the explorers or the NASA crew back to the location where, you know, the crisis happened in the first place, right?
To try to find a cure.
They went to try to find something. I don't know if they went to find a cure.
Yeah.
They're probably trying to find how they can weaponize.
Oh, they wanted to
whatever.
recreate it. They wanted to be able to recreate their whatchamacallit.
Yeah, so but anyway, so they sent their crew out. It's the same location where this happens. And then they see Victor there, and he, appears to be injured or whatever. They take him back, right? I would really want to see like Victor's anger, because for him being left, you know what I'm saying? Because that's a really good selling point as a viewer
And
watching the movie.
the climate changed in the planet.
It did.
And they never addressed why.
Probably because he used the energy to sustain himself for a year.
Yeah. But why not, go into that? I feel like do you think they cut scenes out?
I think they did.
Because you remember the first trailer? I could swear that I remember Victor tied down, or somebody being tied down, and Reed went to him and I need to talk to him. He started talking to him, and whoever the person was like, Doom is coming. I swear I remember that scene.
Yeah.
And that wasn't in the movie.
Nope.
So, but it's kind of up, I guess. Yeah. It could have been better.
Yeah, it definitely could have been better.
Was it a bad movie? No, it was not. It wasn't a bad movie. It just had a weak final act. There's a lot of plot holes. Dialogue needed to be in there. Stuff that needed to be addressed wasn't there. Did that make it a bad movie? No, because if it was a bad movie, I would definitely tell you that, the acting was terrible. The pacing, as far as the progression of how this began, is super cheesy. It wasn't. It was gritty. It was different. I feel like the director had his legs cut from under him, though. That's what I felt going into this. The progression going into a second one, if they make a second one. Said they are, but I don't know. We'll see. Time will tell. Any thoughts? Well, this is our spoiler-free review for the Fantastic Four 2015. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Thanks everybody for watching. Y'all have a blessed evening, blessed night. This is JVS. We out, y'all.
Let's get this review.
I know y'all been waiting. What's going on at YouTube?
I've been waiting.
This is JVS. SEL 0320. Joe Johnson 030.
Joe Johnson 030.
It's time. We're officially going to be doing a review, a non-spoiler review for the Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
You ready for this, y'all?
Yeah, yeah.
Really, Joe?
Hold up.
Really?
No, let's go.
Man, no, I can't do it. No.
Yeah, we can.
Bump it. Go.
We can.
Go.